lost his economic advantage, so he has to just outplay Best at this point. There's some good Dark Swarm, and Lurkers are, oh man, they're not going to even burrow underneath it. There are too many Zealots that got ahead there, and there goes another Defiler about to go down. I don't know what those Queens are for. I'm guessing Ensnare. I don't think Broodling makes any sense, but you know. Maybe he's listening to you fans who love to, you know, come up with theories on how to use queens for broodlings. I don't know. I think mainly the problem with that is just the timing. I mean, you can't research it very early, and later on in the game, if you research it early, I think it's just a loss. You can do other things, but then later on in the game, the problem isn't so much the cost. It might be cost effective, it might not be. It's the control, because it's just so hard to control these gigantic armies that nobody can get away with it. I mean, the only person who's ever been able to use, for example, queens successfully is Jaedong, really, when he used it. He's been using it, or he used it a couple of times against Terran players. You can look that up. So has July, actually. Anyway, it looks like we got a large force from Best coming out. It is going to be Ensnare here from the Queen. Not too useful, though, honestly, the way he's used it just now. Only going to slow down the army a tiny bit. I think there needs to be good Dark Swarms, though, honestly. I mean, otherwise he might lose his game pretty soon if there aren't any more good Dark Swarms. And also, if there aren't any like good concentrations of units, because look at what Best has. He has a death ball of Archons, the blue ball of death, as you can call it. Archons, of course, don't care about Plague, and Zerg doesn't have EMP. But there are some Ultras underneath the Dark Swarm. That's what he should have had for a while. Dark Swarm and Ultras. Instead of really Lurkers and Lurkers and Lings, he should have had Dark Swarm, Lings, and Ultras, I think. On this, especially against his Archon heavy force, Lurkers are much less effective. I mean, a blend is obviously the best, actually. Taking that back, of course, having Lurkers, Ultras, Lings, and Dark Swarm is actually the most cost-effective. But still, you know, if he's lacking in control, which I think at points he's showing, the Ultras, of course, are a little bit easier to use. And as you can see, we're seeing tons of Archons. These are just so durable, and these will, you know, when the game is mined out, if you watch Savior versus Naurar, for example, from a long time ago, a 6-part game, 6-part video, the Proleague just has such a huge advantage because their units are just rechargeable, so to speak. Anyway, we're seeing Best just basically content to prevent Crazy-Hydra from moving out and put pressure everywhere, kill off his armies, and just slowly build up, you know, maybe 20 Archons, which are just never going to be defeated. Just the Zerg cannot get enough units to do it. Here comes an attack from Crazy-Hydra. Finally, he's got a good number of units in one place. He's got Dark Swarm finally on the right location, so these Archons have to retreat. Come on, Dark Swarm. Advance the Dark Swarm, dude. But he's not too particularly good with our... His name isn't Defiler, I'll just put it that way. Or his real name isn't Defiler. It might be Scourge, in fact. Or Plague might be his real name. But definitely not Defilers overall. Because, you know, right now he didn't lose that Defiler. Okay, there's a freaking Ensnare, but put the Dark Swarm down, man! Oh man, he's losing Ultras for no reason. I mean, just those Archons obviously are going to be able to kill the Ultras with their crazy splash damage that they have. And here once again, still the lack of... He's got 3 Defilers and no Dark Swarm. Alright, there's one. Advance now with your Dark Swarm, dude. I don't know what he's doing. I mean, maybe he is a low APM Zerg player, which certainly, you know, a person who can win games. I mean, Savior is a low APM Zerg player, but he uses his APM very smartly, and for a while he was the best player around. So certainly he was able to win it, even in late games. But it doesn't seem like Crazy-Hydra has that particular skill set. He's also forgetting about that Lurker. All right, there we go. Getting that harassment Lurker up there. It's going to be good. Best gonna... what are you doing, buddy? What are you doing? What are you doing? Alright, I guess he wants to replace that with nothing. I guess he wants to use that Lurker for God knows what. So anyway, now here comes an attack with some appropriate use. I mean, he should have been doing the sieging much earlier, like basically just using Dark Swarm to advance up into one of the bases. Now finally he's gotten up the hill, but Best is doing a good job using his Storm to sort of mitigate the Dark Swarm. Now, once again, no reinforcements, and at this point, I think it might partially be due to resource depletion, because I think both players have mainly mined out their minerals. That Lurker basically perhaps wants to hide itself. I'm not sure if we've gotten if Best knows it's there. There's an attack with some more Ultras, but just when the Swarm disappears, bro, put some Dark Swarm there. This is so frustrating to watch. Because I mean, if he had done this, that base should be dead like 15 times over, man. It's a little disappointing. You know, this is a sign of the kind of newish player, I think, where he's got some aspects down, other parts not down. There comes a something Plague on Corsairs. This seems like a little bit of a record on rewind here. I mean, he's going to kill off the Corsairs, but that's not going to do anything if he can't kill this ground army or take down bases. He's going to lose this game because even bases, the Zerg will lose the game in the end. Certainly, absolutely. Both are mined out, and the Protoss has an army, and the Zerg has an equal-sized army. The Protoss will win because his stuff is rechargeable. Now, this is a large army for the Zerg, but if he can get Dark Swarm off appropriately, there's good storms on the Swarm, and there's a good Swarm on the Ultras, and there's a Plague that catches some of the Ultras, some of the Archons. Everyone's caught underneath it. If he can win one of these battles, he can get himself in the lead again and be able to take down bases. He might be able to win this one. I don't know why there aren't more Lings. Well, actually, no, I do know Lings aren't that good against all these Archons, actually, so it is correct not to have Lings. But, man, you got to get that Swarm up. He just lost like 4 Ultralisks there. You know, obviously badly wounded, but because he didn't have a Swarm, that didn't work out for him. There's a DT also chopping down there, so the last few units are going to go down. It doesn't look like he's really going to win this battle. Nice Plague, though. That means the DT will be detectable, because it has the Plague Spores on it. But once again, he loses all of his Defilers, and he doesn't take the field. He needs to take the field so he can advance on those bases on the bottom and gain back a lead. He's alright. He's gonna. Oh, jeez, that was not good Scourge control. He used about like 7 Scourge on one badly damaged Corsair. That happens though. Alright, some handful of Lings, no Defiler though. Moving towards a Nexus that has no resources, except for gas, I guess. He could kill off that Nexus. Also force some pylons to be built and stuff. So he is finally going to get a base of Bests. Now, of course, Best has not taken down any of Crazy-Hydra's bases. On the other hand, I still think that's okay, because that base he took down right now is useless, and Best has managed to take the same number total of bases as Crazy-Hydra is, basically splitting the map there. Alright, those lurkers are not going to live very long, if Best notices them. Yep. Yeah, they're going to get killed. And Best has kind of lost a good number of Archons. Now, I think... Oh, wow, GG coming from Crazy-Hydra. I think he was completely just near exhaustion of resources, so he decides to call it quits. You know, some good moves from the kid, but really just missing a lot of aspects in the late game of his play. I mean, mainly the concentration of forces for a big attack instead of the dispersal of them. Also, losing track of his units when he had the advantage didn't help either, like not using all of his Lings. Also, just not using Dark Swarm. I mean, he had good Plague and good Scourge play, and everything else was either average or just terrible. Best showed great storms, by the way, and I think that saved him. What I was going to say at the end is Best also could have used his last few resources on Reavers. They are also among the deadliest units in the endgame. Reaver Archon army is just so scary for the Zerg player. They basically can't stop it. Anyway, though, hope you guys enjoyed this relatively long game. I thought it was a pretty good game. Certainly, it showcases basically why experience is important and why Best seems to still be alive, even though he's living in the SKT1 basement now, where Hyuk used to live. All right, I might be doing a couple more casts, but do remember to check out Little X Lefty's profile. Sorry, he's in the profile for his playlist, and email me with comments and suggestions instead of using the YouTube Messenger. Hope you enjoyed. GG's.